let's discuss this business entity concept. This is our fourth video for the equation chapter 1 discussion. Now, when I say business entity concept, the purpose of this one is to separate the personal items or personal transactions from the business transactions. Una ay kailangan nating malaman na yung owner at saka yung business niya na kanyang pagmamayari ay dalawang personality po yon. Dalawang personalities. Hindi po na isa lang po yung owner at saka ng may-ari at saka yung business na pagmamay-ari niya. Magkahiwalay po yun sa kanila. Now, that's when it comes to the accounting. So we call this one as accounting entity concept. So kaya dito, sinabi dito na business entity concept limits the economic data in the accounting system to the data related directly to to the activities of the business. May mga pagkakataon kasi na yung pera ng business ay magagamit mo for your personal consumption. Example, pambayad mo ng kuryente, pambayad mo ng mga grocery items mo, pambayad ng supplies mo na ginagamit doon sa mga bata mo sa school, yun ay hindi po kasali ng business expenses. That's why sinabi dito na in other words, the business is viewed as a entity separate from its owners, creditors, and other businesses. So yung mga ginagamit mo for personal use ay tinatawag or tinitreat natin as your withdrawal from the business kung yung pera na ginagamit ay galing sa business. So again, kung magbe-measure tayo ng performance, ang ginagamit lang natin ng mga items ng mga transaction is only related to the business. Business only. Okay. Ngayon, pag sinasabi natin na may mga expenses na deductible sa business, we are talking about business expenses. We are not commingling business expenses sa mga personal expenses. Okay. Now, next is the forms of business. So you can just here enumerate that like proprietorship, partnership, corporation, and we have here the new latest one person corporation. It means to say that one person can now form a corporation. The advantage of having a corporation is to limit your liability from your creditors away from your personal assets. Ang ibig sabihin niyan na kung halimbawa hindi makapagbayad yung corporation doon sa kaniyang mga utang, kung ikaw yung may-ari ng corporation, hindi pwedeng habulin ng mga creditors ng corporation yung personal na asset mo kasi mayroon ngang separate na juridical personality yung corporation. Kumbaga, isa siyang tao na binuo according sa law, which siya lang yung nagkautang, hindi po yung may-ari ang nagkautang doon sa creditors ng corporation na yan. Unlike dito sa sole proprietor, ang proprietorship kasi kung ikaw ay may utang na sa business na hindi mo nabayaran using your business money, pwedeng hahabulin po ng mga creditors yung mga personal assets mo kahit hindi yan part ng business. So, ganun yung disadvantage of having this sole proprietorship. Ang advantage naman ng sole proprietorship is madali mo siyang igalaw. Unlike with the corporation, ang dami pang asikasuhin bago mo siya igalaw, bago mo siya baguhin, yung mga ganon. So, medyo mahirap yung corporation. Yung partnership naman is depende yun kung anong klaseng partner ka. Kasi yung pag ikaw ay general partner, kung ano yung utang ng mga partners mo, utang ng partnership mo, absorb mo yun lahat. Kumbaga, kung ikaw ay general partner, ikaw ang responsible sa pagpapatakbo ng partnership at ikaw din ang responsible yung last resort po ng panggagalingan doon sa tatakbuhan ng pagbabayad ng mga utang. So, parang nakafocus yung pero mayroong mga other advantages but we will not discuss it here. Ano lang tayo, overview lang tayo na mayroong ganyan na mga forms of businesses here in the Philippines. Here, we have three types as we discussed earlier: services, manufacturing, and merchandising. Okay, so these are the corporations under the Philippine context, and these are Here, this is an illustrative example presentation for the different type of businesses, different form of business organizations here in the Philippines. We are not talking here about the non-profit, but non-profit can fall under the corporation, yung mga NGO. Dito yan sila, mabibilong. The time period concept, this is one of the important concepts that we need to know when it comes to the accounting treatment or application of the accounting. If we are measuring income at saka yung expenses, we are going to measure them in terms of period. Kaya, para malalaman mo kung magkano ba talaga yung income niya, kailangan sasabihin mo kung anong period. Kaya yung period ay hinahati po yon. It could be a month, it could be by month, it could be 3 months, it could be semi-annually like 6 months, or it could be annually. Some are using 2 years, 3 years, depende yun sa anong klaseng business na mayroon ka. Because some are involving like long-term na mga contracts or long-term nature of accounting, of normal operating cycle. So, medyo mahaba din yun sa kanila. But ordinarily, we have this what we call monthly, quarterly, at saka yearly, yung reporting dito. Okay? Now, there's a need for that na kailangan hatiin yung period over that of the monthly ba, quarterly. Why? It is because para malalaman natin yung performance. Because you cannot know if the income now is better or not if you are not going to compare that with the other period. So, unable to do that. So, halimbawa, if we're talking about 2024, ito naman 2025, paano malalaman mo na ang income ngayon, ang income mo ay better or not kung hindi mo sila hati-hatiin. So, kailangan may identified na income para sa 2024 at mayroon ding identified na income para sa 2025. Otherwise, if you're just talking about income without referring it doon sa anong period, yung income are you referring at, hindi mo siya measure accurately or hindi siya mag-result into what we call this one, yung relevant na information kung wala pong time period concept. So that's the idea of that. Kaya ganoon din yun pagdating sa balance sheet. Kailangan mo din na mayroon kang cut-off period. Hindi mo malalaman na yung cash mo in 2024, December 31, ay mas malaki kaysa December 31, 2025 mo na cash kung wala kang cut-off point. So, ibig sabihin, dito, kailangan ka mag-designate kung ano yung reporting date mo. Again, para malalaman mo kung magkano yung cash position mo. So, hindi ka pwede mag-report na ito yung ko ngayon. Ito yung anong tawag dito. Ito yung cash ko ngayon at ito yung cash ko at yung nung isang araw. Hindi. You need to designate a time reporting date para po magiging linaw yung figures na nire-report mo. Okay? Now, for different businesses, mayroon silang kanya-kanya na cut-off or yung reporting date. Kadalasan ay gumagamit ng December 31. Mayroon namang iba na gumagamit ng halimbawa February 1. So, depende yon kung ano yung nila gusto nila according to the judgment of the management. Now, that would also depend kung ano yung klaseng or ano yung nature po ng business na mayroon po sila. So, that's why it's up to them to decide. So, ang tawag natin dyan kung yung ending nila ng reporting date ay hindi December 31, ang tawag natin dyan ay fiscal year. So, again, kung ang ending mo ay hindi po December 31, any day of the year, fiscal year ang ginagamit mo na period. Yun ang sabi, yun ang nila sa pagka-categorize nila sa ganyan na period na ginagamit mo. Ikalawa, kung ang ginagamit mo naman ay December 31 ending, ikaw ay gumagamit ng calendar year period. Ito namang natural business year period, ito yung pwede silang magpili at their lowest point in the annual cycle. Kailan sila mag-end at their lowest? So upon their discretion because of their business experience. So it's up to them. So they call this one as natural business year. Pero madalang na ito na ginagamit. Usually talaga it's either fiscal lang or calendar year. Okay, so this is an illustrative example for that. In here, ginamit niya ay anong tawag dito? Ano siya? Gumamit siya ng fiscal. Nag-start siya ng August 1, then end siya ng after 12 months, July 31, 20Y8. So, ganun lang yun ang ending niya para sa reporting. The cost concept is about the initial recording of the accounting records. Ito po yung unang pag-record mo kung magkano yung nagasto mo pag-purchase ng isang asset, yun po yun ay tinatawag natin na cost. So, that is the cost concept. Ang cost concept is not in accordance with the fair value or assessment value. Halimbawa, binili mo yung lupa for around 10 million. Ngayon, pagka next month, nagiging ang kanyang assessment or fair value sa merkado ay, let's say, 12 million. Yung 12, pagdating sa cost concept, hindi ifa-follow yung 12 million according sa market. Bakit? Kasi you are applying the cost concept. Ang cost concept is you are staying whatever is the cost. Yung whatever yung nagasto mo sa pagbili mo, kung ano man yon ang cost, initial recording, and hindi mo ifa-follow kung ano yung changes doon sa merkado ng presyo ng asset mo. So, ganon yon. So, kaya sabi dito, remains the basis of the accounting reports regardless of the market fluctuations. So, example, mayroon tayo dito, bumili siya ng workshop. Tapos ito yung mga sabi ng sellers is 160 yan. Tapos sabi na bumili si Web, pwede 150 ba yan? Then they agreed at 150, the mid price. So, although, after 5 years, the market value is 220,000 and the assessment doon sa property tax is 190, but still, ang measurement pa rin doon sa workshop is still at 150. Hindi po yun magbabago under the cost concept. So, yun yung punto ng cost concept. Dito naman sa supporting concepts, ang sinasabi ito na to ensure financial reports are stable and reliable. And the cost concept relies on two additional principles. We have objectivity. Kasi pag cost concept mo, yung binayad mo, yun talaga, meaning to say objective yun, hindi yun bias. Kasi mayroon yung document supporting that na nagsasabi, ito yung resibo na nagpakita na ito yung ibinabayad ko. So, that is promoting objectivity. Second is the unit of measure concept. So, ano ba yung ginagamit dyan in term na currency? Peso ba yun o dollars? It has to be established kung peso yan. So, in here, in the local, we are using Philippine peso. So, you are not just stating the amount na 150, but still you need to mention kung ano yung currency na ginamit niya dito. So, that's the Philippine peso. So, ganun yung concepts na supporting the supported by the cost concept. Okay. Now, in times of realizing the profit, pag halimbawa, after 9 years, ibinenta to 40, then originally you bought that for 150. Ngayon, nabenta mo to 40, so mayroon kang profit na nakuha na 90. So, ganun lang yun, ganun yung ng cost concept, yung measurement, basic. Binenta mo for 240, yung bili mo dyan ay 150, then, mayroon kang gain realized na 90. Okay? So, that's all for our part on this part. Then, we are going to proceed on the next video to discuss the checkpoint number 2. We are going to review what we have understood doon sa just recently discussed lesson.